That's how we know it's just narratives. Like, it is just narratives. Like, he ain't ready for all of it.
He can't handle that type.
Hey, remember?
Not at all, nigga. He want to be, he want to be Quincy Jones so bad.
Y'all are absolutely right. I'm gonna just
Quincy Jones.
If only for one night.
You gotta remember too, like the nigga testosterone was low, so now.
Oh, you say he got the boost?
And he stopped running so he could get his shit back up too.
He didn't get the boost though, but like he couldn't pull that on certain. Nah, I can't.
Yo.
Oh, go ahead. Now say it, Flip. Say it, Flip. Say it.
Nah, my fault. You right. You got that testosterone shit off, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
For some reason, when we talked about it, what I noticed is that you were sitting across from me, pause. And when they was talking about it, your face turned extremely red, and you started to look a certain direction. I said, what's going on here? I slowed down the picture. I slowed down the video just to make sure to see where, and I zoomed into the eyes. And, you know, I just like, oh, all right, I see, I understand, you know.
I won't tell any soul.
What's the eyes giving, Flip?
You better not say nothing like that. Like, you don't look like, you know, like.
Oh, like you caught.
It seemed like, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So you went.
Oh, it was giving Mel, come out. We caught.
Him and Ish about to be into it. Oh, this.
Y'all need to leave.
What's good, people? It's your boy, The Kitchen. Now, this is something that I've always wanted to cover. Now, the reason I haven't is because I thought this would kind of die down. Now, what I'm talking about is the constant harassment that Melyssa Ford has been facing since her arrival on the podcast. Now, some people could say this is just COE, this is just content over everything, this is just jokes, this is all for the sake of entertainment. But while it did start out that way, and it just appeared as a funny type of thing that these guys do when it pertains to Melyssa Ford and what she does with her personal life, it then quickly started to become very badgering and very annoying. And truth be told, very uncomfortable. Not just for Melyssa Ford, but for the fans of the JBP. It was very cringeworthy. It was very nails on the chalkboard type of conversations that these guys would have about Melyssa Ford and what she gets up to in her personal life. From looking over on her phone as to what she's texting, as to what she's doing. From looking on social media and seeing what she posts pertaining to men and other subjects. It just became very obsessive. And this didn't start with Queenz Flip. I mean, let's go all the way back. This started with the Ish and Mel narrative. Now, the Ish and Mel narrative started out as very funny, very light-hearted jokes. And it was entertaining for the most part. But as the weeks went on, as the months went on, it just became very stale. It became very repetitive. It became very annoying for listeners and Melyssa Ford herself. And Ish himself. So much so that even Ish was tagged in Melyssa Ford's photos of the JBP, labelled as Daddy, which is crazy. So much so that they even had an episode dedicated to Melyssa crossing the line. And Joe did a lot of gaslighting in this episode as well, because he started everything. Joe starts these narratives, and when they go too far, he gaslights. And he blames the very same people that he forced the narratives on. And this all ended up with Ish having to pull Joe to the side and say, yo, just stop with this narrative. Let me just come in. Let me pod. Let me do my thing. But as for the narrative, like, let this end. And since then, the narrative hasn't really been hyped up by Joe or the co-hosts. But as one narrative closes, another one opens. As Emanny would join the pod. Now, Emanny would start off with coming onto the pod a few days, a month. We didn't really see him as much, but then as time went on, we'd start to see him on a daily basis, and this is where the narrative started. And it started with Queenz Flip and Joe, for the most part. Now, this started off as pretty funny, I can't lie, and Emanny didn't seem to care either because he was single. It wasn't like Ish, where he was in a relationship and committed to somebody. So Emanny didn't care. He was cool with it. So much so, on one of the episodes, Melyssa actually took her bare foot out and laid Emanny on the couch and hovered her foot around his mouth. Now, this is crazy, especially at the workplace, but they both seemed to have fun with it. They were both, I think, a little drunk as well, which is kind of crazy as well, in the workplace. None of them really seemed uncomfortable, so it is what it is. Now, this lasted months until Emanny got into a relationship. Now, with Emanny's relationship, he would obviously tell the guys to chill on the narrative because he's got somebody at home who wouldn't like to hear disparaging things coming from his workplace, especially when it pertains to him and another female co-worker. Now, Joe and Flip then agree to not bring up the narrative because they would understand that this could very well affect Emanny's relationship at home. But what do? They bring it up. They allude to it time and time again, pod after pod after pod, until Emanny becomes impatient and behind the scenes starts a physical fight with Flip. Now keep in mind, we don't know that this happened in real time because they kept this on the down low until Flip flipped out, no pun intended, and started to go on Spaces and air his grievances out with Ian and other co-hosts. And he just happens to accidentally mention that this fight indeed did take place. But even after this fight, the narratives didn't stop. They slowed down, but they didn't stop, which led Emanny to find things about Flip's personal life and threaten to bring it onto air, which then led Flip at a crossroads. Because Flip, we all know Flip loves to dish it out, but can't take it. So what does Flip do? He falls back. And ever since then, Flip watches his mouth and Flip knows not to bother Emanny because Emanny has stuff that he could bring up. But as the months go along, myself and other fans start to notice that it's not just Joe that's semi-obsessed with Mel. It's Queenz Flip. Almost every episode, Queenz Flip is peeking at Melyssa's phone, is asking Melyssa questions about her personal life, about men that she's currently talking to, the things that she posts on social media and what they mean. It's just very obsessive elementary school behaviour, and the fans noticed. So much so that they would go on Spaces and confront Flip about it, and Flip would then answer these questions in a pretty bad way.
No, I got some content we're working on. And that's just about it. I don't like it, no, because I like it, but I don't. I like it because it as far as the engagement and the algorithm. I don't like it because I don't want niggas in real life saying that behind the scenes because my reaction is gonna make me lose a bet. Because niggas be thinking like, yo, you haven't been around no bad. That's the only reason I don't like it because you haven't been around no bad bitches. Look how you acting
Right.
around Mel. I'm like, man, are you crazy? Like if Mel really had an issue, you gotta understand. And we have to look within it deeper. Like, are y'all saying that Joe is going to allow somebody to be obsessed with his co-host and not like that goes against so many like the word obsessed, and there's no clarification. Niggas making it seem like I'm horny over her. I'm like behind the scenes or on the show. I'm fucking hovering over her. Like, man, half the time I'm arguing with this lady. Like, yo, girl, you get on my nerves.
And the JBP fans not only pulled up on Queenz Flip, they pulled up on Joe when he was starting the Spaces and wanted to confront him as well.
You come here with the calm voice, relaxed, feeling at zen, but you're ready for the bullshit.
I'm ready for discourse. I'm
Okay.
ready to learn.
Okay, so let's go there. What were you feeling yesterday, Joe? What was your mind state? What was your energy? Or the day you guys recorded the pod that it came off to a large percentage of the viewers as if Joe's in a bad mood. Joe's picking that male. Joe's doing too much.
Well,
It was cringe to watch, Joe. I turned it off. I said, I can't watch my guy like
I
this, man.
do
Oh,
want
I'm
to
not.
say you guys have said that about me for now 2 podcasts in a row. And I've been having an amazing summer. I haven't been grumpy, man, had an attitude. Actually, everybody was in great spirits last pod. So I'm not certain why it came off like that. I watched
Let
it
me ask.
back. I didn't get what y'all got.
Now, Joe can say people are in great spirits on his pod. That's one thing, but the fans just don't see it. We see through the BS. We actually hear what is going on. We see what's going on. And by the looks of it, Melyssa looks very uncomfortable in certain situations. When people ask certain questions, she looks very uncomfortable. She looks like she just wants to move on to the next subject. But you guys just don't make her feel comfortable. It just doesn't look that way. And that's one of the many problems. I mean, Melyssa seems pretty cool with the Ish narrative and some of the Emanny narratives, but overall, she just doesn't look comfortable. In the beginning, it looked like she went with the punches, all for the sake of entertainment, all for the sake of the fans. Now it just seems like you guys are just throwing her onto every single co-host that she even has half of a conversation with. I mean, it's crazy at this point. Even the fans have joined in.
Emanny, now that you're single, would you date one of your single co-hosts?
No.
Ain't
It only one co-host
that Ish is not on you?
Yo, E, can I ask you a question, E?
You spot. Go ahead.
We support you if you do.
Do you believe, E, that like if you grew up watching somebody, right?
Oh, child, you might as well just say it now.
No, that's too much. That's too much. I said it for Tuesday. That's too much. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay, right. Listen, this is what
I'm sorry.
guys, this is what Flip is doing. Flip is trying to insinuate that there is something happening with me and a co-host.
And we support it.
And because it's funny and it's a good narrative, I allow it to continue and be played with. But there is absolutely nothing happening.
And for co-hosts to claim that they care so much about Melyssa and her well-being, wouldn't they take into consideration how they are making her look on a weekly basis on a very, very popular podcast? And it's not even the fact that Melyssa gets thrown onto Emanny, Flip, and Joe. It's not just the podcast co-hosts. It's other guests that come onto the show. I mean, remember Stephen A? Melyssa appeared very happy to see him because they have been friends for a very, very long time, but the co-host saw it a different way. Remember Tyrese? He would come onto the show. Melyssa was happy as well because her and Tyrese had a history, but they thought something else as well. Remember when R&B singer Tank came onto the show? People loved Tank. Tank was hilarious. But again, once Melyssa Ford is happy that a guest is there, they all love to take it the wrong way when it is just a platonic friendship. I mean, it's been so crazy that the amount of receipts that Melyssa can conjure up, it could make for a very good court case. I mean, I don't want to put that out there, but this isn't foreign to Joe and his company. You saw what happened in the past. Joe and his network are known for kind of making women feel very uncomfortable. But hey, what do I know? Maybe this could just all be entertainment. Maybe I'm reading into this too much. Because Melyssa did sign a contract renewal. So she's going to be on there for a good while. So maybe I'm bugging. Maybe I'm going crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys feel like the co-hosts are delving into Melyssa's love life way too much when they should just be focusing on the pod? Especially at the workplace. Which co-host do you guys think does way too much? I think it's Flip. Flip does way too much. Especially because he should be focusing on other things like improving improper improv. I mean, let's talk about it. It's just horrible. Season 2 of Improper Improv is horrible, and if he had spent as much time on Improper Improv as he does on Melyssa's personal life, he would win an Oscar. He would win an Emmy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Once again, it's your boy The Kitchen. Till next time, deuces.